Okay, g'day again. As you can see, I've got the, don't even know what you call it, the hub bar, whatever it is, and I've got this off. I've had movement in my top ball joint, and I had movement in there, a little bit. I found the wheel bearing was loose, and I pulled it out, put some grease on it, tightened it up, and it seemed to be okay for a couple of days, but yeah, then it started moving again, so I replaced the wheel bearing, which I've made a video on already, and then I went out for a day, and it was still making a noise. There was still movement in it, but something was banging. By the end of the day, it was banging a lot. And then I got under here and I moved it around. It still had movement in it. So and by putting my hand underneath the ball joint, between the ball joint and the plate that holds at the top, the upper control arm, I could feel movement in the ball joint. So I went and ordered a new ball joint, and but yeah, while I was trying to get the ball joint out, I'll get this whole arm off, I discovered that the actual noise was up here, and these bushes don't seem to be too bad. They're probably original rubbers, but they're not chewed out by any means, but I don't know if you can see that, but the actual control arm's been hitting on the inner guard, and that's where the noise was coming from, this side. There's also a mark on this side, but yeah, I'm not real certain whether I did that when I was actually getting it off, because I had to wrestle it around a bit to get it off. Anyway, I did buy kits. I did the bottom ones, the lower control arms, and hopefully I've actually got those bushes, but it's still shouldn't really hit on that inner guard. I think part of the issue too is that there should be more spaces in there. I mean, I've had this apart several times and lost track of where the spaces went, and etc. And given I drive this on dirt roads and fire trails, and the suspension really does get a good workout, and it's quite possible that I've buckled this hole in the guard anyway, that I've pushed it in. So like it'd push in just where the bolts is, which that would possibly explain why I'd be hitting on there, because anyway, we'll get to that in time. As I said, I've got leftover bushes, so hopefully it's these upper control arm ones. I did have a lot of hassle getting the tie rod end off. I've got two pulleys, and then one wouldn't fit. There wasn't room for that on the control arm. And this one wouldn't fit either until I actually ground it back a bit. You can see where I've ground it back a bit. And then I had the issue of it was still slipping off the top of the pin here, and it's actually damaged the first thread, so I'll have to file that before I put it back in, so I'll get the nut back on. But yeah, as you can see, I had to actually get in there with the drill and drill a little bit of a hole in the top of it, so that this puller would engage it. So it's got a point on there. And that one came off okay once I did that. I still couldn't get the top one out of the arm. Tried several things. You can't sort of hook any sort of pulley onto the upper control arm. So yeah, I undid that, these two control arm bushes, pulled the top upper control arm off, and then when it was leaning out, see, because then it leaned right out, and I was then able to get this puller here onto the bottom one. It came out fairly easy actually once I got that in place. Yeah, and then I tried to get this whole there's the upper control arm. I tried to get this whole arm piece in the press just to, you know, pop the upper ball joint out of the control arm. And yeah, I just couldn't get it to, because the control arm's, you know, thicker, and like it sort of goes thin as it goes out, and being able to pack it up level, it just, yeah, had a couple of goes and it sort of just wanted to slip off, and then end up, you know, because I'm not keeping the ball joint, because I'm replacing the ball joint, I just left it hanging in here by the control arm. I whacked it a couple of times with a 5-pound hammer and it, yeah, fell out. Now, ball joint again was a totally different issue. Got a circlip on the bottom. This is the ball joint here, and yeah, I set it up. I had a large socket underneath that, and yeah, holding it up, you know, a good 1.5 inches. Then I had this piece. It's probably still hot, is it? Yeah, this is something I've used a few times. It's sort of a bit risky actually, because these are bearing outers, they're hardened steel, and you know, I mean, like you see there, the welds just pop straight off. That's an older weld, but yeah, that was still a bit too big, so I actually added another bearing cup onto the top of that. Just put a few tacks on it. Now, just be like, it'd have done better just to had a bit of, yeah, normal pipe, but no pipe the right size, you know, because there's only, you got to be pretty much an exact fit around the bearing, around the ball joint, yeah, because there's only, yeah, a couple of mil. This, like this arm here, the ball joint fits in, and this arm here, there's only like a couple of mil around it that you can sit that on. So, but yeah, as I said, if you ever do use bearing cups and things on a press, it's not the greatest idea, and just be aware that they can actually explode under pressure. So, yeah, you're gonna do it, wear decent clothing, you know, keep your face well away from it. But anyway, as I said, I set it all up. I had this piece, I had the socket, a large socket underneath the ball joint. While the ball joint was in there, I had this sitting on top, and I had this plate sitting on top of that, and yeah, it just wouldn't push it out. This is only a 3-ton press, and it just wasn't strong enough to push it out. And as I said, yeah, there is a circlip on there on the bottom of that ball joint. Remember to take that off. And yeah, so what I ended up doing then was I got my map gas. Here's another issue. I had to go and buy a bottle of gas, and then when I put it on, I find the igniter's not working. And yeah, I actually lit it with a lighter, but it will only light with the gas sort of turned down just a little bit. If you got the gas up at any height, you know, using a normal cigarette lighter, it just blows it out. It won't actually ignite. But anyway, that's beside the point. So what I did then was, yeah, I heated all around here. That's cooled down already. I was expecting that to be still hot. Heated up, and yeah, actually got it quite hot. Not glowing red, but yeah, it was quite hot, you know. And yeah, eventually it popped out. So yeah, I didn't, because it'd be easier if you take the rotor off, but I didn't want to touch that because I only just put a new bearing and greased it. I didn't want to risk getting dirt on it, and yeah, didn't want to mess with it, so I left it on and put up with the weight hassle. And, but now I'm going to have the same issue in that they're probably not going to have enough strength